Something Indecent is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
45 minutes. That's insane.
Yeah. When I say my name is Max Booth, you say, hey, nice to meet you, Max. When I say my name is Max Booth, you say, hey, nice to meet you, Max. My name is Max Booth.
Hey, nice to meet you, Max.
Yeah, when I say I'm so glad you could make it tonight, you say, oh, it was no problem. I had nothing going on tonight anyway. Yeah, when I say I'm so glad you could make it tonight, you say, oh, it's no problem. I had nothing going on tonight anyway. I'm so glad you can make it tonight. Oh yeah, when I say, yeah, I mean it, I'm so glad you could come. You say that's what she said. When I say, oh, I'm so glad you could come, you say, that's what she said. I'm so glad you could come.
That's what she said.
What the fuck do you mean by that? Who have you been? You've been talking to Michelle? Is that what's going on? What, she's been telling you secrets? Is that what's going on? Okay, so what? I can't come. Is that a big deal? Am I some type of fucking freak because I can't come? Well, whoop-de-doo. Lots of people can't come. And you know what? If you've been talking to Michelle anyway, you would know I can come. I just have specific circumstances that involve, you know, the coming of the come. Look, just because I can only come to the sound of a late night show's massive applause, does that make me some type of fucking freak? A deviant? No, it doesn't. It makes me a human being, okay? Anyway, I'm glad you could arrive, but so let's get the show going. If you could just give us a round of applause. Okay, thank you.
What's going on here?
What?
What's going on here?
What do you mean?
I've never heard of this show.
This show?
And I haven't approved of whatever's happening on this stage.
This is called Something Indecent with Max Booth.
I didn't approve of this, okay?
Who the fuck are you?
I'm the main booker at this establishment.
What?
Yeah.
You have credentials?
Yeah,
Let's
right
see.
here. There's fucking $3 in there.
Yeah, cough it up.
No.
What do you mean?
Look.
This has been pre-approved.
I run this establishment.
Listen,
And if
shut
you
the
wanna-
fuck up. I went on Craigslist. I talked to Craig. It's good.
Oh yeah, who's Craig? He ain't me.
He owns the website.
My name's Andrew Hilbert,
Okay,
okay?
what do you
I
want?
book here. If you want to keep doing your
Yeah?
show, you're going to let me read my little story, okay?
You just have that in the pocket?
Yeah, all the time.
I only have room for you to read.
Leonardo DiCaprio could be in the audience, and he won't, man. So.
That's a good point. You know what? I had Shane McKenzie coming tonight, but I guess you will just have to take his place. This is kind of odd. We've never had this happen at Something Indecent.
Yeah.
But all right.
What's the show called again? Something Indecent, okay. Oh, thanks for having me.
Round of applause.
So, I'm Andrew Hilbert, and I do all of the booking here at this establishment, and thanks for inviting me on your stage.
It's fine.
Oh, thanks. All right, now shut the fuck up.
Hey, wait. Do you know that I can find some tissue?
No.
Okay.
You can get moisture wicking underwear, though. This is a true story. It's called Haunted Pants. My cousins used to make fun of me because my family shopped at thrift stores for our clothes. They used to say that thrift stores were stocked with dead people's clothes and that the clothes were haunted. We were a secular family. We had no use for magic or sorcery. So I didn't believe them, despite the fact that my father choked on a headband, my mother's bra gave her swollen tits. Something changed after they first brought up the dead people's clothes thing, though. I could feel my sweatpants getting tighter around my waist. So tight, in fact, that they would leave impressions on my skin. I didn't want the damn sweatpants, but Mom, with her goddamn haunted bra and swollen boobs, insisted the bloodstains could be scrubbed out. And if they couldn't, it looked artistic. Was the cost of bleach worth the savings? If you asked her back then while she was alive, she'd say yes, because bleach literally cost nothing, and these pants were $1. But now, after all my siblings died of clothing-related deaths, and after the one bra she owned swole her honkers to death, I'm sure she'd say something else. The pants lasted a pretty long time, though, so who knows? You can't blame my mom for all the death sewn into the fabric of my life. When my dad died, we figured it was because he was perverted and secretly got a rib removed to suck his own dick. He choked on a thrift store headband tied to his balls. And there was literally no way to know the headband had a dark secret worse than my dad's. But that's neither here nor there, friends, neither here nor there. We started to notice things getting really wrong when our bed sheets started floating around the house saying things like, boo. Mom said it was just the way the air circulated in the house. She'd say, the booing is coming from the vents, and the air is carrying the sheets in a spooky fashion. I can't explain the eye holes, but gosh, my boobs really hurt. When my brother started complaining that his LA Gears light-ups were sending him hellish messages in Morse code, we started to worry. His shoes would light up even when he wasn't walking, and it always did the code for 666. Then he started complaining that the Velcro straps were cutting off his circulation. It got to the point that he had them amputated. With Dad dead and gone, and my income feeding me and 2 boys, maybe your brother having no feet is a blessing in disguise. Never have to buy shoes again. Gosh, my breasts feel like 2 lead balloons. My mom said. It was at that moment I remembered I had another brother besides the one with no feet. Mom, you said you're raising 2 boys, but you're raising 3. She looked at me all confused. You didn't hear it? Your brother choked himself to death on the toilet yesterday. He was wearing thrift store gloves I bought him, and sitting on that thrift store toilet seat that gave him horrible hemorrhoids whenever we drove by a church. Oh yeah, I said, the elastic tightening around my waist. Andrew, my mom said, you need to stop grief eating. Your pants are getting tight. Ouch, my boobs. I wasn't grief eating though. I was getting grief starvation because my pants were so tight. Anything I shoved down my mouth popped right out like a friggin' thing of popcorn. Mom, our cousins keep saying our clothes are haunted, and I'm starting to think they're correct. All of the pain and suffering we're experiencing is clothes related. Listen to the little dumbass bitch I raised. There's no such thing as ghosts or demons or haunted clothes. Second Life Thrift Store is a totally reputable clothes source. Fine, let's go get stump covers for where Tim's feet used to be there. Let's go. I hear they have the best secondhand stump covers. We got some knitted stump covers for 50 cents with Mickey Mouse on it. Also, some crutches for Tim, whose mobility was severely severed. These are totally not haunted, the pale-faced ghoul behind the counter said. I gave a thumbs up to Tim, who was still in the car because we hadn't bought the crutches yet. He kind of smiled, but didn't seem too happy. I put the stump covers on him, and his legs immediately caught fire. And I'm very scared of fire, so I jumped out of the car and watched him burn to death. Mom was still inside looking for new bras, so she didn't notice. I ran inside and told Mom, but she was staring at the floor, at her boobs. They fell off, she said. Just when I thought the pain went away too, she fainted. I started feeling woozy and the world was spinning, and all of a sudden I was home again. The house was empty because everyone who once lived in it was dead. You were found passed out at the store, the police officer looking over me said. No shit, dumb fuck, I was there. I got up. Our clothes are haunted. You're not well. There's no such thing as haunted clothes. And ever since those words were spoken, spooky clothes-related things stopped occurring. Sure, it took the death of my whole family and a lifetime of picking up the pieces, but now I shop exclusively at Second Life clothes in defiance of my terrible history. These pants, they fit like a dream. Ah, oh God, I'm dying! The end. Yes, sir.
What the hell was that?
A true story.
Explain.
When I was a young child, we shopped exclusively at thrift stores, and my cousins made fun of me for wearing dead people's clothing.
And
My whole family is dead.
Okay, that's fine. You just walk around with this essay in your back pocket?
Yeah.
Why?
Oprah.
Oprah?
Dr. Phil. Somebody's gonna make me a
That
star.
makes sense. Now,
Somebody's gonna
you
be a star.
claim you didn't know about this.
I'll settle for Max Booth, the third.
That's me.
Yeah.
You claim you didn't know about this event.
No, I didn't.
What do you have on your flesh right now?
I don't know, I got it at a thrift store.
Do you think it might be haunted?
I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. It adds about 50 pounds.
That makes sense. What would you say is the sexiest thing you've ever owned that was haunted?
The sexiest thing I've ever owned that was haunted. The sexiest thing I've ever owned that was haunted. A PlayStation 2 controller.
Did it have the
You know,
vibration?
like the analog stick kept going one way,
Yeah.
so when you stuck it up your ass, it would kind of like go around. That was pretty sexy.
Nice.
But it did it on its own. It didn't have to be plugged in.
Wow. You must have been rich.
Yeah, I got it at a thrift store, so.
Okay, well, do you mind if we continue the show now that we had it?
Yeah. I mean, now that I have there's some star in the audience here.
What do you hope to gain from this?
You know, a lot of money.
Are we talking like a Netflix biopic?
Amazon Prime.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, Amazon Prime is great.
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's enough time for you. And Andrew, was it?
Andrew, yeah, I'm gonna get back to work though.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
go make drinks.
Hey, thanks for reminding me.
Okay, no problem. Goodbye. Let's give him a round of applause. Oh, God. Okay, as I was trying to say, this is Something Indecent. With me, Max Booth, I am the host. This is a monthly variety show with frequent interruptions from men with haunted pants. Now that he is gone, hopefully still good, and we can now continue the main event. We have 3 excellent guests today, including, who is next? Jess Hagemann.
Thanks, Max.
What are you doing, knocking stuff down?
Yes, it's part of the show.
It was planned.
So I'm going to read a scene from my novel Headcheese that came out from Sin State in December. And the story was inspired by a true story that was in the news last year of the first human head transplant. So this is my fictional interpretation of that, and features a character named Dr. C, who will be transplanting the head of a possessed nun named Sister J. Dr. C palms the superfine scalpel, its edge so sharp that at only a couple microns thick, it exceeds the visible spectrum. Using such a tool will allow the good doctor to sever the microscopic fibers of the spinal cord cleanly. It would not do to butcher the body of a holy woman. As Dr. C makes the first cut, he sends a whispered prayer for protection to heaven. Not to God in heaven, but to Dr. Canavero, inventor of the head anastomosis venture. Anastomosis is the surgical connecting of 2 parts, a hand to a wrist, for example, a head to a body. Dr. C's orders are to mummify Sister J's severed head. So preserved, it may be watched over by the Catholic Church for signs of unholy activity, while the rest of her body is properly buried. Dr. C, however, has different plans. He wants to know what it's like to be possessed. With such knowledge, he figures, one might turn the tables, might in turn possess the powers of the possessor, of the thing that tortured poor Sister J in life. If he can only reattach her head to a new body, a non-possessed donor body, keeping Sister J alive long enough to hear her speak, the secrets of heaven and hell and of the whole fucking universe could be his. Thus he brings the body of John Doe, 58, DOA, drunk driving victim, he'd been drunk, to rest beside that of J. Dalloway, 66, formerly possessed. The surgery takes 34 hours. Dr. C never once pauses in his work. He's given himself a urine catheter, colostomy bag, and IV drip just for the purpose of being able, for as long as necessary, to forgo the limitations and urgent calls to action of the human body. Sleep is unthinkable given the overdose levels of adrenaline coursing through him. By 7:30 p.m., he is drenched in sweat and starting to smell, as are the two bodies in their stainless steel cradles. Kept cryogenically frozen for the past several weeks, they are thawing now like Thanksgiving turkeys, skin puckered and damp and squishier with every hour. It's why Dr. C beheads John Doe first. It isn't so important for his dismemberment to be as smooth. A couple jagged artery threads or uneven mastoid muscle flaps here and there don't matter, as they'll be sewn up and around Sister J's corresponding parts. Her cuts require a much smoother precision, so he attends to her second, once her warming flesh gives more readily to the scalpel's seductive love light. When she doesn't resist in the least, Dr. C smiles and pats her head. Good girl, Joan. Reattachment is the most time-consuming procedure. He places each head on a wheeled cart, then swaps them. If you are wondering, a human head weighs 11 pounds on average. He leaves Sister J's body and John Doe's head to sit in their respective juices while he begins the delicate task of transplantation. It doesn't have to be perfect. Dr. C will not require his monster to live for long. But the sutures have to be tight enough to keep most of their recombined blood and guts in the proper channels. A second death by sepsis, so soon after resurrection, would not do. Dr. C connects the carotid to the carotid, the jugular to the jugular, uses lasers to fuse in painstaking detail the fibers of the spinal cord, glues trapezius to scalene, and finally, delirious from fatigue, rather messily closes the 360-degree ring around their necks and throats, tying off the bright green thread with a sigh that betrays no small exhaustion. He peels off his sticky latex gloves, turns on the warmer panel beneath the horror. It is hard even for him to look at that soft gray-blonde hair piled gracefully around the burly, hairy, tattooed shoulders of a man who knows illness. He lays down on the OR floor, pulls the morgue drape over himself for comfort, and rests his eyes for no more than 15 minutes. 4 hours later, the delicious smell of roasting meat lures Dr. C back awake. Despite the nutrient-rich IV drip, his stomach growls hungrily, and he props himself up on one arm, feeling his back groan and his eyes blink rapidly. Everything comes back to him in a rush. Dr. C jumps up, getting tangled in and tripping over his shroud in the process, and runs to the steel bay. Right away, he can see that the warmer panel has been on too high and for too long. The back, sides, shoulders, and feet of John Doe blistered, taking on the cracked but caramelized appearance of a perfectly done, still moist bird. Most of Sister J's hair has curled up, blackened, and burnt away. The back of her skull is visible where the high heat has eaten through her thin scalp skin. All of this Dr. C takes in peripherally while gaping at the goriest aspect yet. Sister J's eyes, they're open. Quickly, Dr. C ascertains what must have happened. Heat causes things, especially damp things, to expand. As Sister J's eye jelly had cooked, her ocular membranes had bulged with the expansion of liquid to gas, causing them to pop out through the lids he'd failed to superglue shut. A very dead shade of yellow, her pupils see nothing. Yet. Praying it is not too late, Dr. C rips the automatic defibrillator in the wall. He places the sticky cups of the heart rate monitor on John Doe's flabby chest. He flips the switch on the ABF, holds the paddles at the ready, then delivers 500 volts of electricity straight to John Doe's heart. The body jumps on the table like a gasping fish or a dog flopping belly up for a rub. Nothing else happens. The body again resumes the texture and consistency of an oven-fresh pork loin. Dr. C tries again, 800 volts. The body leaps almost a foot off the table. A heartbeat registers on the monitor. Dr. C literally watches the blood start to flow again through John Doe's curdled veins. The tiny blue rivulets beneath the skin of his inner elbows momentarily bulged and flattened again. He times the seconds it will take for the blood flow to complete one circuit, noting with satisfaction that no blood leaks from the good sister's neck. He'd done a good job on the circulatory system. If the body suffers from any internal bleeding, it is due to injuries sustained during a car accident, not from incompetence on Dr. C's part. He remembers to turn the warning panel off and the ventilator on. John Doe's chest rises and falls rhythmically. Sister J's cheeks puff out ever so slightly with each intubated inhalation. He transfers his own catheter and IV drip to the monster. As the body gradually cools to a healthier 98 degrees, the nun's eye jelly condenses and her lids softly close. If not for the neat ring of stitches around the conjoined neck, or the fact that the head of a plainly pretty woman now sits atop the torso of public enemy number 1, Dr. C would have said that everything is right with the world. So peaceful does this little monster look. And tasty. Unable to fight the compulsion any longer, Dr. C leaves for a burger at the 24-hour hospital cafeteria. It's been a day, and then some. He returns 45 minutes later to find the formerly inviting smell of cooked meat replaced by the now more pervasive smell of John Doe's rotting head and Sister J's putrefying body cavity. He quickly wraps these in the crumpled morgue sheet and drags them to the incinerator hatch at the end of the hallway. While he is gone, Sister J opens her bloodshot eyes. She yawns, uncoiling a forked black tongue. She stretches John Doe's arms above her head and in front of his body in the air. She sits up and shakes what's left of her long gray blonde hair, uncovered during the daylight hours for the first time in 48 years. Blood mats the locks in places, but no worries. Her father will understand. When she stands, she realizes that John Doe is naked, and it is good. Everything the doctor has created is good. She feels no shame, but testing her balance, sets out to explore the hospital garden.
Well, that was a stream.
Thank you.
So tell us about this book, Headcheese. Give us a breakdown of it.
Yeah, breakdown. This is a book about amputation in all its forms. Everything from amputation as a sexual fetish, so people who are... yeah.
You have some fans.
Those who might find themselves sexually attracted to amputees, or who themselves are aroused by the idea of becoming an amputee, or who want to make other people amputees. But it also explores amputation in the forms of everyday life. Amputation of tumors that characters suffer when they're dealing with cancer, or amputation of people from our lives when we're caught up in bad relationships. So, amputation and transplantation are main themes.
How did you come upon the subject?
I came upon this subject when I one day Googled fetishes that can kill you.
What was it about this specific fetish that inspired a novel
Yeah, good question. I believe you have to write your obsessions. Whatever you can't get enough of and can't stop learning about or can't stop thinking about. For me, even though there were lots of fetishes that can kill you, amputation was the one that became an obsession for me. And I couldn't stop writing until there was a whole book about it.
Would you be interested in writing a book about late night show applause fetishes?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Headcheese is available to buy at the table after the event. She will sign it, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah, she'll sign it. So stay tuned after the event. Buy Headcheese and anything else we have available. Now, it's time. So, no show is free to produce, okay? Even something as underground as something indecent, it has to sing a tune to Lady Capitalism once in a while, okay? So, I mean, even the show, it has advertisements. And today's show is sponsored by a personal favorite of mine. Kids Love Trains. A complete collection is now available any place you can buy DVDs, trains, well, kids. So, I mean, I can't see what any of this says with the lighting I have, so I'm gonna try. Kids Love Trains. Youngsters will learn all of the workings of everything from steam-powered locomotives to modern-day engines with Kids Love Trains. The full DVD collection of fascinating behind-the-scenes videos. The Alphabet Train explores everything from exciting railway jobs to railroad safety, all while teaching the alphabet. A, B, C, D. Those are some of them. E, F, G, maybe even Z, I don't know. You have to watch it. Talk to an actual train engineer to discover what it's like to look at a powerful diesel and I want to be a train engineer. Witness the amazing tools used to power these enormous engines and the men and women who keep them running with awesome trains, the DVD. Finally, exciting toy train action rides in the town with I Love Trains, special DVD edition. A compilation of the country's most popular children's series from steam-powered whistles to toy train bloopers. Kids Love Trains travels down the tracks to video excitement. Now, you can buy this any place. However, my sponsors were nice enough to give me this free copy to give to one of you. Lucky. Oh! Ow! Stop! I'm trying to do this. Now, how should we decide to give one of these away? I think to begin with, I want to know how much you guys love trains. So, the count of three, shout, I love trains with as much enthusiasm as you can. 1, 2, 3. I love trains! Oh yeah. Now the count of three, count, I love kids. With as much creepy enthusiasm as you can. 1, 2, 3. I love kids! Now the count of three, shout, I love kids who love trains! With as much enthusiasm as you can. 1, 2, 3. I love to me. Congratulations, you own Kids Love Train. Okay, it's time to continue the show now that the commercial break is done. Stop the music, thank you. Now, next up, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what he's gonna do. He calls himself the Magnificent Mangum. I don't know what that means, but I assume we're about to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, the Magnificent Mangum.
Hello, everyone. I'm really sorry if you read in the Chronicle that Lucas Mangum was going to be here. Lucas Mangum cannot be here because he has diphtheria. So the Magnificent Mangum is here to fill in for him. That is me, the Magnificent Mangum. I am a renowned psychic and tarot card reader. So for my performance tonight, I will be reading the tarot of random audience members. So please pick a card, any card you. Okay, so he's got a guy wandering on the edge of a cliff with the sun. You might want to see a doctor. Okay, pick a card, any card. I'm gonna go with one of you. Oh, you committed a crime at one point, didn't you?
Maybe.
Was it self-defense?
Absolutely.
Are you lying to me?
I am incapable of lying.
I'll buy that. Okay, the last random contestant. Choose a card, please. Any card, any card. How about you? You're gonna come into a lot of money. That's what these sticks mean. You're going to inherit from your uncle a lot of boxes of Monopoly that has the money in it, with the paper money and the cool colors, and you'll get to pass go and get out of jail free, which she'll need, getting out of jail free. So now, before I go on, I want Max, our host, to pick a card. Yes,
Oh God.
yes.
Okay. The Empress.
Okay, so he drew the Empress, and that means that he's going to write a movie called Ghost Dick, and it will make $1 million.
I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, I could do that.
I know. Isn't it crazy? I'm such a psychic. So I'm gonna draw mine now. And so, see this guy with all these sticks? He's pushing these sticks real hard. And the reason why is because I am going to write a movie in the Amityville franchise called Amityville Man Cave, in which all the ghosts smell like Axe body spray. Anyway, this tarot card reading has been brought to you by Saint Sadist, which is a young adult novel in the inspirational fiction genre. It includes a scene in which a teenage girl masturbates while reading the Song of Solomon. It also includes a threesome with two religious figures. And it includes a beat-up old band, because I like bands. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Yes! Right after that, you just said it includes bands because you like bands.
I do.
Did you write this book?
I did. No. Lucas Mangum.
So what's going on?
Well,
Wait a minute. Take off the hood. Ah! Lucas Mangum! What's going on?
What gave it away?
Many things. The name Mangum. The fact that you admitted to writing the book. The face.
Yeah, the face.
The creepy voice that you usually hear, like, behind a school. candy things. Why the disguise?
Well, like most men of my generation, I'm incredibly insecure.
That makes sense. So, is this, these fortune tellings, is that a true thing?
Well, yeah, I've been practicing really hard on the Little League fields. I've been throwing balls up in the air and trying to guess where I'd hit them. Babe Ruth was a psychic. He called his shot, and I was trying to call my shot, it didn't really happen. But I believe in the cards. I believe in the cards more than I believe in myself.
How did you get involved in this activity?
Well, I saw this movie from the 70s called The Manitou. It's directed by William Girdler, and it's based on a book by Graham Masterson. And there's a tarot card reader in the movie, and I don't know, it really inspired me.
Now, do you have any other special abilities? Like, can you read thoughts?
Maybe I'd like to try.
Okay, do you want to try mine?
Yeah. Okay. So, he's thinking about one of the great jump scares that is going to be in his movie Ghost Dick, in which the man's severed ghost dick comes up behind him in the mirror and goes, "Hey."
Oh my god. Do you even know who I thought would play this?
Obviously, I'm gonna go with Norm Macdonald.
Ladies and gentlemen, the magnificent Mangum! He has books to sell at the table! Alright! That was impressive. A bit too impressive. Almost like he planned all of this. So we only have one last performance before the end of the event. Before we drag him up one last time, a big round of applause for Lucas! Okay, now, may I please welcome the biggest sublime fan on the planet, Ronald Dean!
I hate you guys for using that joke constantly. This has been the weirdest shit all night, but it's been awesome. Alright, this is something I wrote for fatherly.com, and I read a whole bunch of essays and fucked up stuff, so this one's about food. Whatever you slaughter in America, you can eat it. From bone marrow to butthole, sweetbreads, which are definitely not sugary, to trotters from cheek to cheek. All the animal kingdom is A-OK from farm to table, nose to tail, and all in the name of brutal commerce. Like any carnivore, I've eaten lots of animals. Most can be found in childhood barnyard books. Smiling cows, grinning pigs, chickens pecking dirt while Farmer Joe drives his big green tractor, knowing that his pails will end up gutted hanging on a rack. I've sampled fuzzy friends you don't see on every menu. Ostrich steak, kangaroo, camel, elk. I've had deer, but I didn't like the taste. Something about spaghetti backstraps still doesn't seem right. I've noshed on frog's legs, foie gras, nibbled on shark, scuffed on some crocodile while I was in Sydney and fried alligator in Florida. Everyone chows down with reckless abandon on grass-fed bison burger, but somehow I'm the asshole for wanting to eat a horse. Somewhere deep in our cultural obsession with cowboys, the lone rider drifting past the Sierra Nevada, the average person's stomach fucking turns when they're thinking about chowing down on some Mustang. But we found a way to shut off the reptilian parts of our brains because it ain't cool seeing chickens and piggies on hooks because they're fucking awesome crumbled across a pizza. When a contestant cooked a horse tartare on Top Chef Canada, people lost their minds and able to grasp how the rules aren't the same when you're cooking French. I mean, those people figured out how to fucking drown a snail in garlic butter, and that shit is delicious. From what I've read, people who've had horse say it's kind of gamey but sweet. Kind of like venison mixed with steak, but it doesn't sound bad. In a weight loss obsessed culture that eats algae, does pepper water enemas, horse seems downright logical. It's cleaner than whatever the mega barnyard is pumping out. Look, I know it's not exactly illegal to eat a horse, but it's frowned upon. We can ride these dudes silly at the track, but if one breaks a leg, we go at it fucking like Clemenza and The Godfather. The ones unlucky enough not to die from a clean shot to the head end up at the glue factory, or as the secret ingredient of your kid's jello, surprise, horse is fucking gelatin. You're eating a horse. When I was a kid, my grandpa in Arkansas would blow a horse's fucking brains out if it got sick or hurt, with as much compassion as checking the time, citing this part of the livestock. One time, he 86'd a sick calf chained to its feet, and he drug it with the tailgate on his rusty old Ford to the edge of the property for nature to do its thing. It's hard to imagine putting a horse down if its fate wasn't similar. Butchering the horse never crossed his mind. The cow he raised for the last year would sure end up as someone's filet may have. Some fun name like Sunshine, but good old Sugarfoot being turned into tacos with a little salsa verde. Fucking gauche. Do I think horses should be we should be chowing down on X-race horses? Probably not. Can you imagine the drugs that local racehorse gets? They've had more needles in their asses than a pro ball player. If you're gonna eat horse, you probably want free-range eggs, kind of like Wagyu style, with a daily massage. I get that slaughterhouses are designed for cows, not horses, but come on. You see those extreme death rodeo shoots? You call it gore rodeo and fucking put it on YouTube, and Red Bull will be psyched as hell. Turns out, way back in the day, Pope Gregory III put the kibosh, not the kebab sadly, on horse as a political move against the pagans. And what has that move carried over in an age that Google can Christianity? I stole all the fun parts for fucking Christmas. Stolen from some fire dancing weirdos. I saw someone eating pig brains with scrambled eggs last week on Facebook. Tell me if that ain't gross. The reason France has horse on the menu in the Napoleonic era, revolutionaries whacked aristocrats, thoroughbreds, and fed people. Up until World War II, horse was even on some menus in the States until beef became the go-to thanks to lobbyists and the tendency for cows to get real big, real fast. Just because we settled to land on horseback, horse is untouchable. Thanks to Clint Eastwood movies, him tipping his hat like some mountain man badass, I have to suffer in culinary curiosity. Don't tell me I'm the fucking weirdo. Cows are all homespun and cute and can literally wear their skin. That fancy leather couch, those shoes, that's fucking horse. That's a dead cow stretched and tanned. And you're gonna force me to let protein go to waste because horses have that much big old funny teeth? And speaking of funny, have you ever seen a literal horse's ass? It's all huge and muscular. Asses are totally in. Horses have butt cheeks that can feed a village. Look, I'm not saying horse meat is probably all that great, but if a horse was a secret delicacy, we'd have bootleg supper clubs and have secret horse killing societies. But here we are, like with letting the rest of the barnyard trot on by while Star, Duke, and Lily just sit there.
Now, I have to stop you now. You said cow brains and scrambled eggs are disgusting. What is wrong with scrambled eggs?
I like scrambled eggs. Actually, scrambled eggs are one of the only two kind of eggs I like.
What's the second kind?
Stuff on top of burgers and shit like that. But eggs by themselves are kind of fucking gross. But when you put them with other stuff, they taste good. But I'm not eating pig's brains. I'll eat a lot of weird shit. Boo!
Not bad.
You know, hey, we all got our limits.
What began this psychotic obsession with eating a mighty salad?
I literally was wondering one day why we can't eat a horse. That's it. I was like, why can't we eat a horse? Everything else is here. And there is no grand plan. I just wanted to know why we couldn't eat one.
Now, at the time, were you high?
Not that time, no.
This is the second time.
Probably.
Okay, I've known you how long?
Like 4 or 5 years.
And every time I meet you, you talk about this. It's obsession. And it's gotten out of hand. So that's why I invited you tonight to my show to put an end to this. Okay?
This is gonna be so fucking weird. What are you doing?
I consulted with my producers, okay? And we had a bit in the budget, and I got you a bit of a surprise.
Oh boy.
And tonight,
It's gonna be so fucking weird.
Tonight, you will finally come to know what this fucking thing tastes like, and you can never talk about it again. Got it?
Sure.
Bring it on down, Andrew. go. Oh.
Has anyone seen my son? He was wearing a horse head mask. Has anyone seen him? I'm very worried.
Hey, that's the end of the show tonight. I'm so glad you can make it. Oh yeah, I'm coming, yes. We have a table, lots of books will sell. We have folks ready to sign them. Go check out the table. If you get a drink, make sure you leave a tip, and thank you so much. We'll be doing this again next month, the second Tuesday of the month. I don't know what day that is. Thank you.